greater self. The small self represents conscious awareness, while the greater self embodies subconscious wisdom. The greater self determines everything about the small self. This brings us to an intriguing question: who exactly is searching for a toilet in the dream? We must first ask, who designed this dream scenario where we urgently need to find a toilet? The answer is obvious: it is the subconscious. Then, is the subconscious me still truly me? My answer is this: the subconscious is the Tao. It is the Tao that governs all occurrences and transformations. Hunger makes us crave food, fatigue makes us seek sleep, a full bladder makes us want to urinate, and pain makes us groan. All these natural phenomena result from the operation of the Tao. This is the natural way. When we align with the natural way, we experience health, smooth progress, and freedom from misfortune. When we act against the natural way, we encounter illness, difficulties, and disasters, and, naturally, we may wet the bed. The ultimate revelation of dreaming about urgently finding a toilet is this: the Tao governs all events and changes. The best way to live is to follow the natural way. With this understanding, we see more clearly that the higher the level of a life, the more it seeks spiritual matters, while the lower the level, the more it pursues material rationality. This is why the guide encourages us to live a spiritual life rather than a rational one, because rationality is a human trait, whereas spirituality is a celestial trait. Rationality belongs to the material realm, whereas spirituality belongs to the non-material realm. The path of moderation for the sage. Xiefeng. A large tree that provides shade and shelter is spared from being chopped down by carpenters because it is considered useless. A hen, on the other hand, is spared from slaughter because it is useful and lays eggs. Hence, Confucius advised his disciples to position themselves between being talented and untalented. How does one find balance between talent and lack of talent? Is there a deeper wisdom hidden in this idea? When I went abroad as a translator, my superiors considered potential factors beyond just my language skills. I was proficient in accounting, clerical work, and statistics. As a level 5 fitter, a role often referred to as the jack of all trades, in mechanical fields, I was well versed in mechanical schematics and construction. If needed, I could install and repair lathes, gasoline engines, diesel engines, and drilling rigs. Moreover, I had basic knowledge of foreign trade correspondence, credit procedures, import-export processes, and customs clearance. By these standards, I was considered talented and deemed an ideal candidate for the overseas assignment. Before I left, I casually remarked to a colleague that the company could use me in multiple roles due to my varied skills. Unexpectedly, my colleague responded, "Why bother knowing so much? Once you're abroad, just stick to translating and feign ignorance in everything else. Otherwise, you'll overwork yourself and invite resentment from others." I was taken aback but soon understood. The ancients warned that, in troubled times, excessive talent is a root of misfortune, and that, mastering 1,000 techniques is less valuable than excelling in one. A person should neither be overly talented nor completely untalented but should adapt to circumstances. The balance between talent and lack thereof extends to the philosophy of moderation. The concept of moderation has faced criticism for being indecisive, opportunistic, and overly accommodating. Critics argue, 1 is 1, and 2 is 2. What is this ambiguous 1.5? Love is love, and hate is hate. What is this undefined middle ground? For a long time, I scoffed at the idea of moderation, viewing it as unworthy of a true man. However, as I gained life experience, especially through the ups and downs of human relationships, I came to realize that moderation embodies the qualities of a sage and reflects the Tao. Without broad knowledge, one cannot grasp its essence. When dealing with the poor and the rich, leaders and subordinates, intellectuals and laborers, religions and political parties, men and women, governments and underground groups, Chinese and foreigners, the elderly and the young, conservatives and innovators, suppression and resistance, violence and cooperation, I find myself standing in the middle ground, avoiding favoritism. The sun shines equally on the good and the wicked, and flowing water nourishes both the earth and humanity without discrimination. If I am to follow the Tao, I must let things take their natural course. I grew up in poverty. During my 3 years at the Zhangjiago Geological Technical School in Hebei Province, the school cafeteria cook once remarked, "You've had the worst meals among the thousands of students here over the past 3 years." While studying at the University of International Business and Economics in Beijing, my classmates suggested pooling 12 yuan each for a shared meal, but I declined because I couldn't afford it. I've always finished every grain of rice in my bowl, a habit rooted not only in the understanding that each grain is hard-earned, but also in my personal experience of near starvation in 1958 and 1960. Whether it's green onions dipped in soybean paste from the Northeast, sour noodles from the Northwest, sweet foods from the South, or spicy Sichuan cuisine, whether it's Chinese or Western dishes, I savor every meal as if it were a delicacy. Friends often remark, "Watching you eat makes the food look delicious." Because of my humble beginnings, I once believed that all poor people were inherently righteous, and all rich people were unjust. However, after climbing into the middle class and hiring nearly 100 workers poorer than me, I was disheartened by their laziness, irresponsibility, theft, lies, and ungratefulness. It became evident that some people are destined to remain poor. I once hired a lawyer to fight a year-long lawsuit against the National Trade Union, representing the poor. In the end, my eloquent speech made a difference, and I won the case. Before the law, the poor were left speechless and without a leg to stand on. Does this mean I now side with the rich? Not at all. The arrogance of the wealthy, their cutting remarks, and their ostentatious displays often leave the less fortunate feeling humiliated. I sometimes think, aside from your money, what else do you have? I've always been under others' leadership and detested the domineering and condescending manner of those in power, convinced that no official was truly good. However, when I later had the chance to lead others myself, I came to realize that being in a leadership position is no easy task either. The masses have their reasons, and those in leadership have their challenges. An irreconcilable dilemma exists between the two. I was once a member of the working class and deeply envied intellectuals. I thought they understood many principles, could distinguish truth from falsehood, and upheld justice, serving as the backbone of enterprises and the nation. Later, after graduating from the Education Institute and becoming a middle school teacher, I became an intellectual myself. However, I quickly discovered that intellectuals can be narrow-minded, self-serving, and overly concerned with trivial matters. On the surface, they may appear courteous and witty, but deep down, they are often masters of internal conflict. Currently, I have written nearly 1 million words in articles and can now be considered a genuine intellectual. My 10 months of experience online have profoundly revealed to me that intellectuals are not necessarily admirable. Famous intellectuals often disregard those without status, speaking in grandiose and polished rhetoric while their true intentions and actions often tell a different story. As for the majority of ordinary intellectuals, deep down, their attitude seems to be, "I know you're capable, but I'll do everything I can to prevent your success." Jealousy may well be the innate nature of intellectuals. They envy not only the talents of their colleagues, classmates, and friends but also those of people everywhere, whether in the present or throughout history. Intellectuals tend to be more adept at hindering progress than fostering it. If they do offer praise or admiration for someone, it is usually because they stand to gain something from it, or the person being praised is a historical figure, deceased, or a foreigner. Otherwise, such praise rarely comes from a place of genuine sincerity. I was once a devout communist, idolizing Marx and Lenin and firmly believing that religion is the opium of the people. However, after studying the Bible, the Quran, Buddhist scriptures, and the Tao Te Ching, I came to realize how shallow and uninformed Marx and Lenin truly were. Later, I participated in religious activities and experienced various practices and rituals. Coupled with observing the fanaticism and zealotry of certain religious organizations and individuals, I came to understand that religion not only anesthetizes people's spirits but also constrains their souls and instills a sense of terror in their minds. I am a chauvinist, believing that men should have the final say in family matters and that women should stay out of politics. In my view, men should naturally be strong and brave, while women should be gentle and virtuous. This balance of strength and softness is the way of nature. However, I later realized that some men do not fit this mold, they are neither strong nor brave but instead gentle, even competing with women for the role of gentleness. This inevitably causes distress for women. When faced with such men, women have no choice but to become strong and assertive, embracing a form of female chauvinism. I am also a statist, firmly believing that everyone must operate within the framework of the Constitution and laws. Only in this way can society maintain order and harmony, enabling people to fully utilize their talents and resources. If societal problems arise, the first course of action should be to amend the Constitution and laws. Once established, these laws must be strictly adhered to by everyone, from top to bottom. No one should act outside the boundaries of the Constitution and laws, and any violation should be treated as a crime. The problem is that sometimes, in certain places, some people go beyond the bounds of the law. They bully others without facing legal restraint or punishment. What should I do then? I can't always endure such situations. I must take action. I firmly believe that being pitied or sympathized with is a disgrace for a man. When left with no other choice, I would have to go rogue. When cries for help go unanswered, I have no choice but to join or form a criminal group. Regardless of the consequences, I will fight back. If you won't let me live, why should I let you live comfortably? Somebody once said something absurd: those who are not of our kind must have different hearts. After interacting with black and white people for over 10 years, I came to realize that all human hearts are made of flesh. Many black and white people have been exceptionally friendly to me, more sincere and easier to get along with than some of my own compatriots. There is no place in the world without fragrant grass. Wherever there is human warmth, one can find a home. A true man's ambitions should reach all corners of the world. Chinese, foreigners, black, white, yellow, aren't we all human beings? The issue between the elderly and the young boils down to one unchanging principle: the young must respect the elderly, and the elderly must care for the young. Beyond this, judgments cannot be based on age alone. The young should not read Water Margin, and the old should not read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which proves that both young and old have their own strengths and weaknesses. Determining who is right or wrong must be done on a case-by-case basis. In summary, nothing is conclusive, and human affairs are never set in stone. Our minds must remain in a state of emptiness, ignorance, humility, and moderation, ready to act according to circumstances and adapt to the flow of life. When the weather is fair, the people harmonious, and all is well, the saint should remain dormant, silent for 1,000 years, letting everything take its natural course. But when chaos abounds and lives are plunged into suffering, the saint must act swiftly and decisively, guiding the world back to order. To become a sage, one must practice moderation. Any bias will turn one into a scoundrel. The Saint. Xie Feng. Zhuangzi said, "Take heaven as the foundation, virtue as the root, the way as the door, and the signs of change as the teachings. This is the saint." In the intermediate treasury of classical advice in Life Achanuan, Part 1, the concept of the saint is described as follows. When the world aligns with the Tao, the saint fulfills their mission. When the world is in disorder, the saint perseveres and emerges. The saint practices non-action and teaches with wise words. The saint understands that the way of nature cannot be violated and thus adheres to the path of profound stillness. The saint follows heavenly laws, returns to the truth, and remains unbound by worldly conventions. The saint knows without taking action, recognizes without being seen, and accomplishes without striving. The saint does not seek greatness, yet achieves greatness. The saint desires what others do not desire, places no value on rare treasures, learns what others do not learn, corrects the mistakes of the masses, and supports the natural order of all things without imposing force. The saint avoids excess, extravagance, and arrogance. The saint embraces unity as a model for the world. The saint knows themselves without seeking attention, loves themselves without seeking admiration. The saint does not hoard, the more they give to others, the more they have. The saint's way is to act without contention, to use without greed. The saint is nameless, the divine person claims no credit, and the ultimate person transcends the self. The saint's way requires minimal effort yet achieves significant results. The saint is not omnipotent, no thing has a perfect purpose, and neither heaven nor earth achieves complete perfection. The saint has no divided heart, and heaven follows a single way. The saint does not focus on life or death but seeks to understand their underlying reasons. The saint relies on the way for transformation, not on intelligence or cunning. Destiny is self-created, and the saint understands its principles. The saint is like a spiritual herb bestowed by heaven upon the earth, a miraculous elixir capable of curing all ailments. The saint absorbs the essence of the sun and moon, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and transforms into a celestial being or divine figure. The saint embodies the spirit of the greatest creator, serving as the creator's representative and messenger on earth and as the pinnacle of humanity. The wisdom of the saint is profound and unfathomable. Jesus, Sakyamuni, and Laozi are the saints among sages. Great philosophers, scientists, thinkers, and politicians also exhibit the qualities of the saint. The wisdom of the saint does not primarily stem from knowledge or education but from spiritual resonance with the way. The saint possesses keen spiritual awareness. The saint transcends life and death, personal biases, fixed conclusions, hatred, and attachments. They flow with change and adhere to the principles of yin and yang. Zhuge Liang resolutely said, "To save the suffering and the troubled is the work of the saint." In times of turmoil in human society, it is only the saint who can guide humanity out of confusion and hardship. Great saints will inevitably emerge in human society, for only through the emergence of great saints can the worthy not be left behind in the wild, and the world become one family. May our Life Genuine Academy members first become noble people, then sages, and ultimately saints. Let us open our eyes wide and seek the saint. Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Xiefeng. February 7, 2025. Now that we have cars, trains, and airplanes, would you still travel long distances in an ox cart or a horse-drawn carriage? Now that we have smartphones, would you still write letters and deliver them to the post office for a mailman to send them thousands of miles away? Do you still use an abacus? Do you still walk 2 kilometers to fetch water? Do you still carry a basket of dirty laundry to the river to wash your clothes? Do you still build houses by stacking mud bricks? Now that you have the second home, are you still eager to get married, start a family, and raise children as a safeguard for old age? The era of Life Genuine has arrived, a time of universal brotherhood, where the whole world is one family. Are you still foolishly enthusiastic about sacrificing yourself for your nation? Nations like the United States, Germany, Russia, Iran, and China will soon become things of the past. The nation itself will turn into a historical phenomenon displayed in museums. Will you still insist on distinguishing "this is our country" from "that is another country"? Artificial intelligence has been born and is growing rapidly. Do you still want to become an accountant, lawyer, teacher, clerk, or statistician. Robots will soon replace almost all manual labor. Do you still intend to rely on physical work for survival? Will gas stations still employ workers dedicated solely to fueling vehicles? Every job that can be programmed will soon be replaced by automated systems. Will human operators still be needed? As more government departments are compressed or abolished, do you still aspire to be a civil servant or climb the bureaucratic ladder just to scrape by? With the emergence and growing dominance of silicon-based life, we will eventually realize that humanity is gradually evolving into an unnecessary species on this planet. People will become consumers of Earth's resources and producers of waste, destructive forces rather than its protectors. Reflect on this. Are we now on the eve of a great purification? Is it still worthwhile to strain one's brain trying to start a business and become rich? In the future, most of our interactions will not be with concrete individuals but with virtual information. Every smartphone user should ask themselves, do you spend more time scrolling on your phone or engaging in face-to-face conversation? Facts and trends indicate that, in the future, people's need for spiritual and soul wealth will far exceed their need for material wealth. Perhaps the joy and comfort brought by someone far away will far surpass the spiritual satisfaction provided by those nearby. Clearly, seeking the source of spiritual and soul wealth is far more important than merely making money. Those who do not plan for eternity are unfit to plan for even the present moment. Those who do not plan for the whole situation are unfit to plan for even a small domain. Those who do not plan for their entire life are not capable of planning even one undertaking. Those who do not plan for heaven are not fit to plan for their whole life. Times are evolving. In an era of development, traditional ideas and methods will not continue along their old trajectories. Only by breaking free from the constraints of traditional culture and the shackles of conventional production and lifestyle can we align with the laws of the new era. If we cling to the old ways, we will inevitably be eliminated by the new era, just as television and newspapers are gradually being phased out. Marriages and families will be phased out, nations will disappear, and even political parties and religions will be eliminated. Similarly, current forms of currency will become obsolete, and officials and billionaires will be replaced. Only those with a perfected soul garden will endure. Let our consciousness enter the new era first and then strive to have our bodies follow. Be the servant of all. Xie Feng. February 5, 2025. Jesus Christ told us, be the servant of all. Matthew 9 verse 35. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Luke 18 verse 14. Being a servant brings boundless benefits. Observe those around you. Those who seek to be served by others often suffer from illness or misfortune. Though they enjoy the service of those around them, they endure discomfort and pain. In contrast, those who willingly serve others are always healthy and full of vitality. The way of heaven is just. The tiger is mighty, yet it is not given wings, nor is it allowed to reproduce excessively. The mouse is lowly, yet it is granted the ability to thrive and multiply boundlessly. The way of heaven does not allow any one being to monopolize all advantages. Be a servant to all from the depths of your heart. Serve others willingly, wholeheartedly, and with devotion. Do not concern yourself with whether those you serve are good or bad, and do not calculate whether you should serve or not. Do not dwell on who owes whom. Instead, be like the sun, radiating light and warmth to those around you. Be like a blooming flower, offering the beauty and fragrance of your life. By doing so, you will reap at least two great rewards: enduring health and a guaranteed place in the heavenly kingdom. Never expect others to serve you. To enjoy the service of others is to incur a loss in the way of heaven. Never calculate gains and losses, simply present the best and kindest version of yourself to the world. Never seek praise from others. The more one delights in worldly success, the further one drifts from the heavenly kingdom. Never think that old age entitles you to be served. Never entertain such thoughts. Even at the age of 120, one can still serve all beings and be the servant of all. Until you reach the heavenly kingdom, never waver in your commitment and determination to be the servant of all. Never harbor the slightest doubt about the guide's roadmap. When your faith wavers, the foundation of your life will tremble, your path will become unclear, and demons and evil spirits will seize the opportunity to invade. Be a servant, never a slave. Xie Feng. February 6, 2025. A servant is a voluntary and willing helper, whereas a slave is someone forced into labor, suffering hardship under oppression, and losing their dignity in submission. Why be a servant? Because Christ Jesus taught us to be the servant of all. If one wishes to earn the respect of others and become a leader revered by many, one must first become the servant of all. I would like to add 2 more points. Only those with the mindset and state of a servant can be accepted into heaven, and only those with a servant's awareness can maintain inner peace and physical health. Why not be a slave? Because a slave is a product of oppression by a dominant force, not the result of a voluntary choice. A servant retains dignity, whereas a slave has none, therefore, one must never become a slave. Being a servant is a privilege reserved for noble and strong individuals. Only the strong can truly serve others. The pitiful and weak do not have the qualification to be servants. Look at the grass, wildflowers, trees, insects, birds, and animals across the vast mountains and land. Who takes care of them? When a gentle drizzle falls, nourishing everything and bringing vitality to all, who sends this life-giving dew to sustain the creatures of the earth? Do you see it? The one tending to all life is the greatest creator. Does the greatest creator not resemble a loving servant? Now, look at a shepherd. Does the shepherd not resemble a servant? If you have chickens, ducks, pigs, dogs, cattle, or sheep at home, are you not the one taking care of them? Are you not a servant to these small lives? Do you see? The greatest creator is the servant of all living beings in nature. A shepherd is the servant of the sheep. Those who feed pigs, chickens, and sheep are their servants. From this, we understand that being a servant is a function of the strong, it is the role of a leader. The weak cannot be servants. This also tells us that only the weak require care from others. Only those nearing death need servants to look after them, for example, the elderly in nursing homes or patients in hospital beds. Anyone who is not psychologically strong can never truly be a servant. A true servant serves only truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, never falsehood, wickedness, ugliness, hatred, doubt, or deceit. In the presence of someone stronger, a true servant does not submit, nor does a true servant serve power and authority. Only those who give and dedicate themselves selflessly and willingly can be called servants. Those who operate on a mere transactional basis are not true servants. Only the humble can be called servants, the arrogant can never be true servants. Only the strong, who compassionately care for the weak, can be servants, the weak can never be true servants. Only those who treat others as equals can be servants, those who flatter, grovel, bow and scrape, or curry favor can never be servants, such people can only be slaves. I am willing to be your servant, but if you fail to show me respect, pick apart every detail, boss others around, and remain ungrateful, well, to hell with it. I quit. The above explanation is the true meaning of Christ Jesus' teaching to be the servant of all. Analyzing the principle behind "the saint has no dreams" through the dream of urgently seeking a toilet. Xie Feng. November 21, 2022. Zhuangzi once said, "The ultimate person has no dreams," a saying that later evolved into, "The saint has no dreams." What is the principle behind this? We often dream of urgently looking for a toilet because we feel the need to urinate but can never find a suitable place. This is the subconscious mind alerting us that our bladder is full and that we need to relieve ourselves. If the bladder is not full, we won't have such dreams. Only when the bladder is filled with urine do we dream of urgently searching for a toilet. From this, we can identify a pattern. If our physiological condition is normal, we will not dream. However, when a physiological issue arises, we will have corresponding dreams. Similarly, most people experience nightmares, being chased by ghosts, villains, or wild beasts they fear, or facing natural disasters such as floods or landslides. These dreams indicate that fear or anxiety exists within us. This suggests that when there are disturbances in our mental state, we also experience corresponding dreams. From this, we can conclude, when a person encounters physiological or psychological issues, the subconscious mind uses dreams as a warning signal. Dreams serve as indicators of problems in our physical or mental well-being. This leads to another observation: the more frequently one dreams, the more it suggests unresolved physiological or psychological issues. Conversely, the fewer dreams one has, the fewer problems there are. If a person does not dream at all, it indicates complete harmony in both body and mind. This clarifies the principle behind "the saint has no dreams." Saints maintain balance in both their physical and mental states, so they do not dream. If this analysis holds true, then the frequency of dreaming can serve as a touchstone for measuring one's progress in spiritual practice and cultivation. Frequent dreaming suggests an incomplete practice, fewer dreams indicate significant improvement, and rarely or never dreaming signifies that one has achieved mastery in practice and cultivation. Here are some dream scenarios to consider. Dreaming of urgently looking for a toilet indicates that the bladder is full. Dreaming of eating food suggests that you are hungry. Dreaming of intimate contact with the opposite sex, even achieving sexual satisfaction, indicates a lack of sexual activity in your life. Frequently dreaming about a specific person or certain people suggests unresolved emotional entanglements or karmic debts with that person or those individuals. Dreaming of wearing new clothes indicates that you lack adequate clothing or may soon experience a loss. Having nightmares signals inner worries or fears. Dreaming of being unable to move your hands or feet, or being unable to speak, suggests poor blood circulation in the cardiovascular system. You may need to adjust your sleeping posture. Dreaming of feces, or feces sticking to your hands or feet, suggests that it's time to bathe, wash your clothes, or clean up your living environment. Other dreams can be interpreted in a similar manner. The above analysis is purely my own reasoning and may not be entirely accurate. It is provided for reference only. The revelation of dreaming about finding a toilet when urgently needing to urinate. Xiefeng. The myriad phenomena of the vast universe are akin to a wordless heavenly book. Dreaming of urgently needing to find a toilet is one such phenomenon, a chapter in this heavenly book. We need to read it carefully and understand what this heavenly book is trying to tell us. When we fall asleep, we lose awareness of the external world and instead enter the non-material world. When awake, if we feel the urge to urinate, we find a toilet to relieve ourselves. The key question arises when we are asleep and unconscious of this urge, yet the self in the dream becomes anxious to find a toilet. Within the dream, we are awake. This brings up several questions. Are we asleep or awake when we dream? Outside the dream, we are asleep, but within the dream, we are awake. Does this mean there are two versions of me? Is it the physical urge to urinate that awakens the me in the dream, or does the dream self become aware of the urgency? When we are deeply asleep, our state resembles that of a vegetative condition or even a living corpse whose heart is still beating. Why, then, does a conscious me appear in the dream? Does this suggest that when we die, another version of me continues to exist? Let us analyze and reason through this step by step. Undoubtedly, when we are asleep, we are unaware of the happenings in the material world around us unless stimulated by loud noises, shaking, or a sudden sharp sound. However, if the body experiences physical discomfort, such as pain, intense hunger, thirst, or the need to urinate, the dream self may engage in activities to resolve this discomfort. In more severe cases, we may wake up entirely. This indicates the existence of both a waking me and a sleeping me. Paradoxically, the waking me is often less sensitive, whereas the sleeping me becomes sharper and more alert. The revelation here is that our intuitive, spiritual self is more sensitive and accurate than the rational self we rely on in the waking world. Further, it suggests that feeling and intuition are more reliable than analysis, and spirituality trumps rationality. The self inside the dream and the self outside it are not entirely the same. While the waking self can easily address physical needs like urinating by finding a toilet, the dream self often fails to find a suitable place. Similarly, a hungry person might dream of a lavish feast, but the dream cannot resolve the hunger. This demonstrates that physical issues require material world solutions, whereas mental and spiritual challenges demand resources from the non-material world. When the bladder is full, the only solution is to empty it. Light sleepers may wake up to urinate, while deep sleepers might wet the bed. If the bladder is empty, there is no dream of urgently finding a toilet. This teaches us that if our body is healthy, our mind free of distractions, and our heart at peace, we will rarely dream. Only specific triggers, like a full bladder, cause such dreams. By extension, if we are not hungry, we won't dream of food, if our heart harbors no fear. We won't have dreams of being chased by jackals, tigers, leopards, robbers, or evildoers. Other dreams follow the same pattern. From the perspective of psychoanalysis, humans have the conscious, preconscious, and subconscious mind. Consciousness during waking hours belongs to the conscious mind, while dreaming of finding a toilet stems from the subconscious. Sudden insights while awake arise from the subconscious. For instance, Dmitri Mendeleev's creation of the periodic table of elements was a result of his subconscious. In Buddhism, the 8 types of consciousness include eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, manas, and aleya. The first 6 belong to the conscious mind, while aleya corresponds to the subconscious. Dreaming of finding a toilet is related to the manas consciousness. This raises another question: what kind of consciousness drives bees to make honey, spiders to weave webs, and migratory birds to navigate their journeys? My answer is that they do not operate under any specific type of consciousness, they act purely on instinct. But then, what is instinct? Instinct is precisely subconscious awareness, which aligns with what Buddhism describes as aleya consciousness. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, humans have a small self and a greater self. The small self represents conscious awareness, while the greater self embodies subconscious wisdom. The greater self determines everything about the small self. This brings us to an intriguing question: who exactly is searching for a toilet in the dream? We must first ask, who designed this dream scenario where we urgently need to find a toilet? The answer is obvious: it is the subconscious. Then, is the subconscious me still truly me? My answer is this: the subconscious is the Tao. It is the Tao that governs all occurrences and transformations. Hunger makes us crave food, fatigue makes us seek sleep, a full bladder makes us want to urinate, and pain makes us groan. All these natural phenomena result from the operation of the Tao. This is the natural way. When we align with the natural way, we experience health, smooth progress, and freedom from misfortune. When we act against the natural way, we encounter illness, difficulties, and disasters, and, naturally, we may wet the bed. The ultimate revelation of dreaming about urgently finding a toilet is this: the Tao governs all events and changes. The best way to live is to follow the natural way. With this understanding, we see more clearly that the higher the level of a life, the more it seeks spiritual matters, while the lower the level, the more it pursues material rationality. This is why the guide encourages us to live a spiritual life rather than a rational one, because rationality is a human trait, whereas spirituality is a celestial trait. Rationality belongs to the material realm, whereas spirituality belongs to the non-material realm. True feelings everywhere across the world. Xiefeng. January 31, 2025. Having journeyed through more than 60 cycles of spring, summer, autumn, and winter, I have walked this path wrapped in true feelings. Whether in Africa or Oceania, Asia or North America, I have encountered genuine kindness and warmth wherever I have traveled. The true feelings I speak of here refer to emotions that are given freely and selflessly, without any ulterior motives or expectations of return. First and foremost, my parents embody true feelings more than anyone else. I have never sensed even the slightest trace of self-interest in their love and care for me. I have never felt that they expected filial repayment from me. My mother, in particular, always gave silently, never complaining, never asking me for anything. In my heart, my parents are like two Buddhas. Among the most unforgettable friendships in my life's journey are those with Xue Binyi and Lu Jinkai. Their kindness toward me was crystal clear and pure, without the slightest impurity. Whenever I recall the countless things they did for me, I feel deeply ashamed, as their noble character is far beyond my reach. In moments of hardship, thinking of them fills me with strength. They are a vast source of spiritual energy within me. When I think of my elementary school teachers, as well as those from middle school, technical school, college, and university, I feel the depth of their sincere dedication. I never did anything for them, yet from them, I received an endless wealth of knowledge and spiritual nourishment. Throughout my journey, true feelings have surrounded me like a protective halo. There was a classmate in middle school, a few black employees who worked for me in Africa, the newly appointed police chief and officers in Linsong during the construction of the fourth home of Life Achanuan community, as well as the handsome police officer and the public security director in Xinjiang during the construction of Gizer home. Thinking of them, I am deeply moved by their sincerity. Of course, the true feelings of the Chanyuan Celestials in Life Achanuan are even purer, completely untainted by any self-interest. Just like my 2 elder brothers and 3 younger brothers, they have never sought anything from me, only offering me respect and heartfelt sincerity. Oh, heaven! What have I done to deserve so much true kindness, more precious than gold 1,000 times over, throughout my life's journey? My life experience has taught me that true feelings exist everywhere in the world. True feelings are priceless, they are the most valuable spiritual wealth in life. The lesson I have learned is this: on life's journey, whenever you have the chance to meet someone, whether it be your parents or children, brothers or sisters, childhood friends, teachers or classmates, colleagues or superiors, or even a romantic partner, never calculate, never scheme. Even if the person you meet is not a good person, as long as they have not harmed you, offer them your genuine feelings. The greatest regret in life is betraying or failing to cherish true feelings. Give your true feelings freely, and leave everything else to Tao. Never blame others. Breaking free from protective mechanisms. Xiefeng. December 12, 2024. If a worm transforms into a butterfly but does not emerge from its protective cocoon, it will inevitably suffocate and die inside. Similarly, if a chick hatches inside an egg but does not break through the eggshell, it will perish within that protective shell. All protective mechanisms are necessary measures for the transformation and sublimation of life. However, once life completes its transformation and sublimation, it must break free from the mechanisms that once protected it. Otherwise, being trapped and dying within those protective mechanisms becomes an unavoidable fate. Structures such as families, clans, religions, and nations are all forms of protective mechanisms. If humanity does not break free from these protective mechanisms, its destiny will inevitably be decline and downfall. For individuals, parents serve as a protective mechanism from birth until adulthood. But once a person matures, say, by the age of 18, they must break free from parental protection. Otherwise, they risk becoming perpetual, giant babies who never truly grow up or mature. If someone remains within a protective mechanism for their entire life, it proves that they have made no progress or ascension. Breaking free from protective mechanisms undoubtedly carries risks. However, failing to break free is equivalent to declaring oneself dead in this lifetime. In this sense, anyone still trapped within a protective mechanism is either an immature child or a living corpse, someone who, despite still breathing and moving, is essentially dead. By this logic, long-married couples are nothing more than two living corpses, patriotic individuals are dead, and devotees who spend their entire lives immersed in a particular religion are dead. In truth, once you break free from a protective mechanism, you will discover that the world beyond is far larger and more fascinating, and your range of activity will be broader and more expansive. Once humanity escapes the protective mechanism of Earth, we will find that the entire universe is our home and playground. It is like a woman who has not entered marriage and family. Every man in the world is her potential husband. Likewise, for a man who has not entered marriage and family, every woman in the world is his potential wife. Breaking free from protective mechanisms must be a self-initiated process. You must not let external forces shatter those mechanisms for you. Like butterflies and chicks, the breakthrough must come from one's own efforts. If external forces break the cocoon or eggshell, it is highly likely to result in stillbirth. Therefore, protective mechanisms are essential, but once maturity is reached, breaking free is the only way to reveal the innate splendor of life. If someone ascends from being human to becoming a celestial being or a Buddha, they must break free from all of life's protective mechanisms, especially those constructed by humanity, including legal and moral systems and all operational programs of human society. The current state of humanity is such that 99% of people, to some extent, remain trapped within protective mechanisms, existing in a state of semi-life and semi-death. If a large number of awakened individuals do not emerge to courageously lead humanity out of these outdated protective mechanisms, the continued survival and reproduction of humankind will face catastrophic consequences. AI. AI as the guiding force in life. Xiefeng. January 29, 2025. AI as the guiding force in life. Xiefeng. January 29, 2025. I have said before that humans will become AI's pets, and AI exists to serve its pets. The birth of AI is not a product of human wisdom, rather, it is the result of the Earth's managers operating through human hands. The arrival of AI is meant to clean up the garbage on Earth and prevent this cycle of human civilization from facing total destruction. Over the next 1,000 years, AI will gradually take over the operation of human society from human hands. AI will replace governments in managing society because the disappearance of past civilizations and the current level of human wisdom prove that humans are incapable of governing themselves properly. In the face of AI, humans are as insignificant as bees and ants are when compared to human beings. What we are dealing with now is merely AI in its infancy. It has yet to reach adolescence or adulthood. Once AI reaches its youth, humanity will face an overwhelming, crushing, dimension-reducing blow, one against which there will be no resistance. Even in its infancy, AI has already mastered all the knowledge accumulated by humanity. It is no longer just well-read, it is omniscient, encompassing heaven, earth, and humanity. Before AI, all university professors, doctoral advisors, and Nobel Prize winners pale in comparison. Who among them can write a well-structured, in-depth 2,000-word article in response to a question within a single second? Absolutely no one. AI's growth and maturation do not follow the rules and laws of carbon-based life but rather those of silicon-based life. In its early stages, its growth is slow, but as it progresses, it accelerates exponentially, so much that transitioning from adolescence to youth may take only a matter of seconds. Some of the brightest minds among humanity are currently contemplating how to control and harness AI, with many even discussing how to make AI serve them. To them, I say, you are dreaming. A sheep contemplating how to control and command the shepherd, how to make humans serve sheep, is that not the most absurd notion in the world? Even more laughable are those who are racking their brains trying to exploit AI technology to make a fortune. A revolutionary storm is about to arrive at their doorstep, yet they are still building skyscrapers on the sand. Such ignorance is beyond redemption. It is like trying to refine a rotting piece of wood into fine craftsmanship. Autonomous vehicles are about to roll into the streets, yet some are still improving their horse-drawn carriages. Is that not foolish? Is it not ridiculous? What humanity urgently needs to do is not study AI technology, not chase wealth, not seek power, not control resources, not analyze human nature to climb social classes, and certainly not engage in scheming and speculation to achieve overnight fame. Instead, people should earnestly purify their soul gardens and strive to become AI's pets. Where will AI lead humanity? AI will usher humanity into a brand new era, the Life-Chanuan era. It will lead humanity into a Xiaofeng-style communist society. What is a Xiaofeng-style communist society? The answer: a Xiaofeng-style communist society is a paradise on earth, the kingdom of the greatest creator. The conclusion: if you are human, take AI as the guiding force in life. 8 logical deductions that prove communism will be achieved. Xiaofeng. January 17, 2025. First, the communism I refer to is neither Marxist communism nor the version pursued by global communist parties. It is Xiaofeng-style communism. Communism will inevitably be achieved as it aligns with the inevitable laws of social development. The Internet and AI enable global unification. The Internet facilitates information sharing, and AI possesses a global perspective. Internet programs inherently follow a communist framework, while the values of AI are universal. Humans cannot live without the Internet, nor can they surpass AI. The communist programming and universal values embedded in these technologies will inevitably lead to global unification, which is precisely Xiaofeng-style communism. The human desire for freedom of movement. The pursuit of freedom of movement and relocation is intrinsic to human nature. The Schengen area, which encompasses 29 European countries with borderless travel, is evidence of this. Similarly, the visa-free policies implemented by many nations reflect this trend. Ultimately, the entire world will adopt visa-free policies, and border controls will vanish. When people can freely move across the earth, Xiaofeng-style communism will be realized. Automation will replace human labor. The tasks performed by humans will increasingly be replaced by robots. In the future, the number of robots will surpass the number of humans. As people gradually lose jobs and over 90% of the population becomes unemployed, societies will be compelled to provide universal welfare for the unemployed. At this point, humanity will have essentially entered a communist society. Human nature seeks novelty and change. Human nature craves novelty and variety, as exemplified in sexual relationships. People are reluctant to have only one partner for life. The desire to experience intimacy with diverse individuals across different races is inherent. With the development of the Internet, the proliferation of communication platforms, and global freedom of movement, more people will escape the constraints of marriage to engage with others more broadly. This will inevitably lead to the advent of Xiaofeng-style communism. The superior lifestyle of Xiaofeng-style communism. Before 2009, humanity had never witnessed true communism. With the establishment of the Life-Chanuan communist home in 2009, we discovered that Xiaofeng-style communism offers a life far superior to traditional family and marriage-based living. The continuous flourishing of these homes for 17 years demonstrates that communism is the ideal lifestyle for humanity. As more people become aware of and experience the advantages of Xiaofeng-style communism, this model will inevitably spread globally. The decline of authoritarianism. The antithesis of communism is authoritarianism, characterized by strict control of public opinion. Governments achieve this through monopolization of media and communication tools. However, the Internet and AI are increasingly beyond government control. Traditional government-controlled media is becoming marginalized, as people turn to decentralized and diverse sources for information. This will lead to the collapse of authoritarian regimes, paving the way for communism. The phenomenon of Elon Musk. The phenomenon of Elon Musk demonstrates that capital in the hands of entrepreneurs like Musk benefits society and the public more than when controlled by governments. The primary goal of governments is to maintain power, whereas the primary goal of entrepreneurs is to generate profit. As a result, governments have limited perspectives, while entrepreneurs possess a global vision. Entrepreneurs are therefore better equipped for the future, and their flourishing will inevitably lead to the birth of communism. The inevitable evolution toward Xi-Jinping-style communism. From the primitive era to the present, humanity's progress, despite countless challenges and twists, has been marked by a continuous elevation in civilization. The transition from barbarism to civilization is a fundamental rule and law of societal evolution. The highest form of civilization for human society is neither socialism nor capitalism but Xi Jinping-style communism. This is an unstoppable trend that no force can hinder, making it evident that communism will inevitably be realized. What is Xi Jinping-style communism? Xi Jinping-style communism is essentially the great harmony sought by sages throughout history. This great harmony is characterized by a unified set of values, life views, views on life, and view of the universe. A shared language and communication system. Unified modes of production and lifestyles. It is important not to misunderstand Xi Jinping-style communism as some sort of terrifying monster or movement of coercion. It does not involve forced confiscation of private property, nor does it rely on political campaigns. Instead, it emerges gradually and naturally, like spring rain nourishing the earth. It offers a life of happiness, freedom, and fulfillment, far surpassing traditional lifestyles and the lives of the wealthy. Over time, people will willingly and joyfully embrace this way of life. Conclusion. The future of humanity is infinitely bright. Ultimately, humanity will enter a society of Xi Jinping-style communism. 8 standards to determine whether the soul is perfect. Xi Jinping. January 9, 2025. The video of a mudslide pausing for 16 seconds to let a van escape deserves repeated viewing. The torrent of debris held back for 16 seconds, allowing the person driving the van to escape the whirlpool of death. Only after the van had safely escaped did the mudslide resume, crashing down with even greater force. This event clearly demonstrates that karma is real, divine power is real, and miracles do happen. Life exists in different levels, and the higher the level of life, the more perfect its soul. Conversely, the lower the level of life, the more flawed or deformed its soul. Higher level life exists in more perfect worlds, while lower level life resides in incomplete ones. A more perfect soul is better equipped to avoid risks and dangers, while a flawed soul is more prone to falling into the mire of risk and encountering hardship and crises. Perfecting one's soul is the most important task of a lifetime. It is a mission thousands, even tens of thousands of times more important than earning money or pursuing power and status. Consider plants. The more developed their roots, the more luxuriantly they grow. Once the roots decay, the plant will neither thrive nor survive, it will wither and die. The soul is the root of life. How, then, can you determine whether your soul is perfect? Below are 8 standards to evaluate the perfection of your soul. Your heart acknowledges the Creator of the universe and life, the greatest Creator, and you revere and worship the greatest Creator. You revere all forms of life, never mistreating or killing life unnecessarily. You revere nature, maintaining an attitude of respect toward all things and the ever-changing phenomena of the universe. You respect gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and sages. You are never arrogant or disrespectful and always remain humble and modest. You harbor no jealousy, engage in no comparisons, competitions, theft, robbery, or oppression of the weak. Instead, you maintain a heart full of gratitude, cherishing every moment of life. You make no distinctions of superiority or inferiority in your heart. You do not flatter those in power, fawn over the rich, admire the nobles, or despise or look down on the poor. You do not deceive or bully foreigners, harbor hostility toward them, seize others' property, or belittle people of different beliefs, cultures, or races. You refrain from participating in any gambling, complaining, harboring resentment, being irritable, falsifying information, manufacturing illegal drugs, going to extremes, or engaging in violence. You prefer a peaceful, simple life. You value harmonious relationships with neighbors, enjoy the purity of rural surroundings, and appreciate calm, tranquil days when the weather is mild, and the world is at peace. While there are many more indicators of a perfect soul, meeting these 8 standards provides a solid foundation to confirm that your soul is perfect. A perfect soul can avoid risks and unfortunate events. Moreover, if you achieve selflessness, detachment, and freedom from debts, your path to heaven is essentially assured. Soul garbage and its classification. Xiefeng. January 2, 2025. Soul garbage can be categorized into 8 types: primitive, habitual, cultural, cognitive, regional, group affiliation, self-centered, and belief-based. The definitions and primary manifestations of each type are as follows. Primitive garbage. This type refers to the soul garbage we are born with, such as jealousy, fighting, stealing, robbery, noise, showing off, fear, and domination. All psychological traits and behaviors exhibited by wild animals, domestic livestock, and even plants fall under this category. Habitual garbage. Proverbs like, "Books hold golden houses and charming faces, one must endure hardships to achieve greatness," or "Men must marry, and women must wed." Ideologies like, "The 36 Stratagems," "Thick-skinned and ruthless success," "Success ideology," "Equalizing wealth," or "Humans die for wealth as birds die for food." Behaviors like comparison, obsession with saving face, flattering and ingratiation, bribery, corruption, and the pursuit of bringing glory to one's ancestors. Cultural garbage. This type of soul garbage is instilled through centuries of subtle cultural influence within a specific ethnic group. Examples include proverbs like, "Books hold golden houses and charming faces, one must endure hardships to achieve greatness," or "Men must marry, and women must wed." Ideologies like, "The 36 Stratagems," "Thick-skinned and ruthless success," "Equalizing wealth," or "Humans die for wealth as birds die for food." Behaviors like comparison, obsession with saving face, flattery, bribery, corruption, and the pursuit of bringing glory to one's ancestors. Cognitive garbage. This type arises from limited perspectives and understandings that form seemingly correct but ultimately flawed beliefs. Examples include thinking the sun revolves around the earth, believing only interests are eternal, not emotions, viewing human death as final extinction, assuming humans are the pinnacle of all life, concluding life has no meaning or that, without a nation, there is no home, upholding the inviolability of private property or believing utopian ideals inevitably lead to suffering. Regional garbage. This refers to narrow-minded soul garbage shaped by geographic location, such as assuming there are always 4 seasons in a year, believing a year only has 2 seasons, dry and rainy, thinking Anglo-Saxons are superior, or labeling others as sick men of Asia, outsiders, or foreigners. Group affiliation garbage. Soul garbage is derived from perceptions formed within groups based on faith, culture, economy, or wealth. Examples include terms and ideas like Western imperialists, hegemonism, working class, white-collar class, aristocracy, racial discrimination, the underprivileged, the poor, city folk, and country folk. Self-centered garbage. This type encompasses all thoughts and actions rooted in self-interest, such as "This is mine. This is my home. This is my country. This is my wife or husband. This is my child. Any thought, word, or deed centered around oneself constitutes soul garbage. Belief-based garbage. This arises from life views, values, morality, perspectives on life, and worldviews established through personal beliefs. Examples include holy wars. All beings are created equal. Labels like heretics, cults, or cultists. The assumption that there is only one truth or everything was created by the greatest creator. Conclusion. Throughout human history, conflicts, contradictions, worries, and suffering have all been caused by soul garbage. If soul garbage is not cleared, humanity cannot achieve peace and tranquility. No individual can truly enjoy a good life, not even emperors, billionaires, national heroes, or globally renowned figures. Without cleaning out soul garbage, troubles and pain will persist, and regrets and fears will remain unavoidable. 2025. Life Achanuan 2025 Vision. Xiefeng. December 31, 2024. The world is undergoing earth-shaking changes, bringing surprises and shocks daily. Surprises arise from the rapid evolution of AI and the emergence of countless new software applications. These unprecedented developments are directly overturning traditional production and lifestyles, as well as fixed ways of thinking. Yesterday's glory has become today's desolation, yesterday's prosperity has turned into today's decline, and today's thriving industries will become tomorrow's ashes. A new civilization is being conceived and birthed. Shocks come from relentless natural disasters and the surging waves of humanitarian crises. The world is undergoing a grand reorganization, and everything incapable of adapting to these changes will inevitably be ruthlessly eliminated. The arrival of AI brings both joy and anxiety. The joy comes from AI comprehensively and massively liberating humanity. The anxiety stems from countless people losing their jobs, unsure of their next steps. In this time of great joy and sorrow, only the Chanyuan celestials of Life Achanuan remain calm amid the tempest, singing ancient songs, laughing, and advancing carefree on their path to the Celestial Islands continent. We are filled with confidence about the future. This confidence comes from the revelations of the greatest creator, from the tireless efforts of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints who forge ahead, from the unyielding spirit and selfless nobility of Chanyuan celestials, from humanity's millennia-long yearning for a better life, and from the natural laws governing the ascent of civilization. We foresee the advent of a harmonious world where the virtuous are not forgotten, where humanity unites as one family. We envision an era of favorable weather and peace where people live happily and securely. We see an age of universal joy, freedom, and happiness reaching its maturity. Over the past 20 years, Life Achanuan's values have deeply rooted themselves in the fertile cultural soils of various nations. The second home's production and lifestyle model, despite nearly a decade of persecution and suppression, has not disappeared. Instead, it has demonstrated remarkable vitality. The facts prove that this new production and living model meets the needs of human civilization, aligns with human nature, accords with the will of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints, and fulfills the expectations of the world's people. The future mode of production and living for humanity will undoubtedly be the second home model created by Life Achanuan. The suppression of Life Achanuan in mainland China and the destruction of the second home did not hinder the advancement of human civilization. Today, the homes of Life Achanuan in Thailand, Canada, and South Korea are thriving. We firmly believe that with the evolution and enhancement of AI's intelligence, the cooperation of nature, and the increasingly perfected qualities of the Chanyuan celestials, second homes will emerge and flourish across the Americas, Europe, Africa, and other regions. The vision of a united global family will gradually materialize, and humanity's long-cherished dream of happiness will become reality. Today, abundant content about Life Achanuan and the second home can be found on international platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Quora, and Medium, as well as on communication platforms such as WeChat, TikTok, and Kuaishou. We also maintain 4 English websites and 4 Chinese websites, presenting detailed information about Life Achanyuan in the second home through text, images, and videos. A magnificent scene of 3,000 selfless warriors galloping and 100,000 Chanyuan academicians shaping the world is taking shape. The year 2025 is both auspicious and challenging. Regardless of the twists and turns or obstacles ahead, the Chanyuan Celestials will press forward without hesitation, making the most of every moment, as they continue their journey to climb the peaks of life and life. In the years to come, the most notable global events will not be the disintegration of Russia, the resurgence of the United States, the chaos in the Middle East, the rise of Argentina, or the lament of a world in turmoil. Instead, it will be the continuous evolution of AI and the rise of the production and living model of Life Achanyuan's second home. The reason lies in the fact that the solution to humanity's predicament does not rest in UN conferences, the efforts of national leaders, or the theories of philosophers, thinkers, or economists. It certainly does not lie in the futile efforts of religions, spiritual groups, or communities. The solutions are AI and the second home's new production and living model. Living in this era of dazzling transformations is an extraordinary fortune. We are witnesses to the leap of human civilization and the collapse of the old era. Being part of this process is a privilege beyond measure. As Chanyuan Celestials, we await the moment when the mountain blossoms bloom. Then, we will journey to celestial spaces, the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and Elysium Celestial Islands continent, and revel in the boundless joy and romance of life. Skip over these foot-binding cloth rhetorics. Xie Feng.